This is Your Pain Game podcast, where we talk about the game of living in and with chronic pain and trauma, getting to the heart of how to heal. I am your host, Lyndsay Soprano. On this show, I plan on discussing with doctors, chronic pain patients, holistic practitioners, loved ones, and anybody that is interested in having their voice heard in the chronic pain and trauma world that we live in. Some days I avoid. I mean, we all do, right? And, lately it seems like most days I avoid at some point throughout my day something, right? And I don't avoid everything in life. Otherwise, I wouldn't be successful in any way, shape, or form, right? But I just avoid some very specific things in my life. If you've listened to episodes prior, you know that I'm batshit crazy when it comes to OCD and things being lists and all of this. So I'm an overlister. Like I write lists for every part of my life, and they're separate documents that are all, of course, printed out and filed correctly and all of that, and it starts with my business list. Then it's my sweetie and I's life management list. And then it's, of course, the dog's life management list. And now as we're heading into holidays, now we've got Christmas lists and there's birthday lists and there's cleaning lady lists. It is just unbelievable the amount of things that the pressure I put on myself to get all of these lists of things done, right? My grocery list, of course, is organized by aisle, depending upon the pavilions that I might be shopping in. But it goes on and on, list after list. And what's happening lately is I'm avoiding it. And what list have I not mentioned of those, right? Guess which one? Health and wellness. Where's that list, Lyndsay? It should be the first freaking list on the top of my list. Like, I don't understand why I do this, why I avoid. And so I'll tell you, last night I was prepping to do this episode and I was like, why am I doing this? Why am I avoiding so much? It comes to find out I am scared. And some days I feel like I have a gun pointed to my head to make a doctor's appointment and I need to make like 20 of them. But I have zero faith in a positive outcome of these appointments that need to be made, right? So I'm like, forget it. I value people's time so much. I hate being late for something. I make sure that I'm as good as I can about being on time for things. And I was late for this episode, ironically. So there you go. And I value people's time and mine, but I don't want to waste my time going to an appointment that ends up just being a loss, if that makes any sense at all. And our healthcare system here in the United States makes me feel like the only option I have is to have enough pressure on me, put on myself, like having a gun put to my temple, right? Just to make an appointment. Okay, so I take my wellness list and I ended up putting it on the top and I'm like, all right, I got to call my foot doctor, right? This is where it all started. So I'm like, okay, we're going to call that one. Let's start there, Lyndsay. So I finally stopped ignoring that list and I called my foot doctor. Like, bling, bling, hello. Hi, I'd like to make an appointment with Dr. Levine. My name's Lyndsay Soprano, blah, blah, birthday, the whole thing. Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Soprano. He has passed away. I am like, come on. Like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, he dropped dead of a heart attack. Okay. My age, he was very nice. He was respectful. He put up with my depravity. He appreciated it even. And when I've looked back over the past couple of weeks since I heard this news, I was really saddened by this because he was kind of my only diamond in the chronic pain patient life that I live. And he's, dead, completely dead. So now my health and wellness list just dropped right back to where it was before, right? And I can't blame it on my favorite doctor dying. Like, I have to blame myself, I suppose. But why continue to waste my time in and with a broken system? And my guest is going to talk a little bit about that as well today. So, what if I make these appointments? And this is these scenarios that I make up in my head. Like, I'm going to make these appointments. And then that morning I wake up and there's no way that I'm going to be able to drive because my legs hurt too bad. And I don't want to put myself at risk and others on the road and and I'm not going to take a Lyft ride. Because if I do that, I got to throw my wheelchair in the back. And then the driver for sure knows that I am handicapped and there's no way I'm going to be able to run away from him. So then he rapes me in the back seat and he chops me into little pieces and he puts me in a bag and he throws me on the side of the road. And this is why I am not making doctor's appointments. Very healthy. I watch way too much true crime. I'm just saying, you know? And are these excuses? I mean, probably. So anyways, okay. So I avoid. Congratulations, Lyndsay. So to circle back to prepping for this episode, what I realized last night is that I am scared for the reasons that I told you. Some of them are completely ridiculous. But what I'm scared of is finding out that there is something else going on that is worse than my CRPS. And as I've mentioned, it's called the suicide disease. It's scary AF, right? And what I'm afraid of finding out is that I'm going to have to take even more inventory of my life and my decisions and the things I put in my body or don't put in my body. I'm worse at the don't put in my body thing. That inventory is exhausting. I know I've been doing it for the past year hardcore. So I'm exhausted from that. And I continuously feel like I'm treading water with, legs that barely can do so. And I see my guest shaking her head like, yep, she's been doing it. But, we're running out of air, guys, and our list gets longer, and the longer it gets with our bods, the more we avoid. And so I'd like to change that message that I'm saying in my head. And I'd urge you guys as well, because we all do it in some place in our lives. And it's hard to get out of that. Right. So, by all means, you guys know that this is not like my forte. That's why I'm talking about it here. So anyways, I would like to bring my guest today. I'm calling her Little Mrs. Misdiagnosed because she has been through so many things. It's stupid. Her name is Melissa Lamoureaux. Hey, Melissa.
Hi.
Hi, honey. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you. I don't even know where to begin with you, Chickie.
Neither do I. Sadly.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Let's avoid this episode. All right. Are you cool with us talking about, the things that have happened to you in your life, traumas that have led to misdiagnoses and how it's led you to where you are today?
Absolutely. Do you have a series ready? Or
yeah, exactly. Part 1 through 12. Seriously, it could be just one issue per episode with you. So we're going to do our best here to give you the time that you need and the space. And so I'm rolling out the red carpet for you, babe. I think basically we should start with your narcolepsy diagnosis and go from there. Don't you think?
No, absolutely.
Okay.
That was the core.
So your narcolepsy, you were diagnosed in, what was it, 2009?
2009 was the official diagnosis. We started around 2008 is when I met the doctor that thankfully wouldn't take no for an answer.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
Yes.
Praise Dr. Tang of Simi Valley.
There you go. Now, what were the symptoms that you were having that you were not being able to get diagnosed with?
Well, originally, if you were to go back in high school, I was always tired. I'm not talking your regular tired that everyone says, I'm tired.
Right.
I would sleep all night. I would wake up exhausted as if I didn't sleep. We're talking your eyes burning, your glands swelling. Of course, I was moody. I was, my parents thought I was on drugs or something, or I had bipolar disorder. Symptoms of narcolepsy are as if you haven't slept for 3 days. I couldn't retain things in my brain, stuff like that. They always thought I had mono because I mimicked symptoms of mono. I never tested positive for mono. Fast forward when I injured my back at one point and I had to stop doing a lot of the fitness and coaching stuff I did. When that happened, I started passing out, or what I thought was passing out. So of course they started testing me for seizures. They reported syncope, just unknown passing out, to the DMV, took my license.
Ugh.
And I did notice that before I would pass out, I would get these almost warning signs. And it was always on days I was very tired and days I had anxiety. And I thought, that's weird. But again, they told me seizures and they were kind of trying to scurry me off, giving me seizure medicine or whatnot. Of course, some doctors walked in my hospital room and said the word psychosomatic.
A woman's favorite word.
Right. They saw the wrath of a Cuban woman.
I love you.
They saw how loud I could yell. Dr. Tang at one point did see that side of me. I believe he was in the room. And luckily, he was a very young doctor at the time and looked at me and said, we're going to figure this out. And He really did. He ran every test possible. He was on the phone with the insurance company fighting to get him paid for, and he did.
Wow, that's lovely.
Yeah. And he called me one day and said, you're going to do a sleep study, and it's a 2-day thing. And I said, oh, are you kidding me? I love to sleep. I mean, I make jokes that I should be a mattress tester.
Mattress tester.
And I said, I don't need a sleep study. And I actually canceled it.
Wow. Avoidance.
I thought I don't need that until my boss told me you're not coming back to work if you don't have that done, because I had fallen into a copy machine and some other things at work. So basically to keep working, I went and had it done. And the test came back and I was so severe that Stanford actually wrote me a letter saying, can we have your brain when you die? Which was a very interesting letter from the brain donation program at Stanford.
You better have that thing framed in your house. I swear to God. I would be so proud.
It's in a file cabinet, but it's not framed.
I want my brain to be donated to Stanford for science. I do.
But yeah, so I was hitting REM in between 2 and 8 minutes. And
wow.
Most people hit it in 90 to 120, I believe.
Holy moly. That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't sleep cycle. So that is why I will sleep all night and wake up and feel like I haven't slept, which you can imagine the other things your body goes through when it's exhausted.
Yeah, I do, because I'm an insomniac. So when you're saying just a little bit ago about the 3-day thing, if you don't sleep for 3 days, they say that you're narcoleptic. Is that what you just said? Or did I hear that wrong? I'm hearing things.
No, you're sleeping, but your body, the reaction is as if like those are your first symptoms.
Interesting. Because I just recently started to kind of sort of sleep, and that actually has been decreasing more and more with each day alcohol intake. I mean, I don't drink hard alcohol anymore, but you don't need to have an entire bottle of wine. You don't need to do this, it's just sugar, and you're like, well, why do I have so much energy at 10 o'clock at night? Well, because you have a glass of wine on the side of your bed, Lyndsay. Like, hello, let's replace that with sleepy time tea.
And I do have narcolepsy 1, which they recently recategorized it. So it used to be considered narcolepsy with cataplexy or just narcolepsy. They've recently made it narcolepsy 1 or narcolepsy 2. I have the one with cataplexy, which is what you see in the movies. Obviously, not exactly like the movies, but where you fall. The next question people have is, how can you drive? I do get warning signs. I know my warning signs.
Sure.
And I am overly cautious. But that numbing of the fingers, that anxiety, lo and behold, that is my trigger. Stress and anxiety is my trigger for the cataplectic side of it, which is it's a loss of muscle tone is what it is. It's kind of your body saying, I give up. And I'm putting it in very layman's terms.
Well, it's actually what Mayo Clinic says exactly, almost verbatim, because I have it pulled up for this episode because I wanted to know, and triggered by strong emotion.
Yes.
Hello. I mean, I know you're emotional. I certainly am. Wow. Okay.
I have a daughter who's been diagnosed, and hers is laughter. Her cataplexy is very minor, but she can't hold anything in her hand if she laughs.
What? That's crazy.
She didn't know it. She thought that was normal and so she never told me until I started seeing certain things. And I said, is there anything you do where your muscles don't work? And she goes, oh no. She goes, but when I laugh, I can't hold a pencil.
That's not insane. Normal? That's not normal. I'd be screwed because I laugh so much, mostly at myself doing stupid stuff. I wouldn't get anything accomplished. So is she on medication to help? She's on medication. Yeah. And I honestly consider it a blessing that I knew what to look for, because she doesn't have to suffer through high school and college trying to figure out why I can down like 40 ounces of caffeine and it's not helping, So I love that. I hate that she has it. I love that I would drive her and her friends around and they would all be giggling and my daughter would be asleep in the back. Interesting.
And of course her friends would take pictures. We thought, they thought it was so funny because there is a very funny component to it. I mean, I'm sarcastic, so I'm going to say that. No offense to, there's people who handle it differently. But then I started realizing, that's not okay. She's young. This is the time of her life. So we found out that she has mommy's genes for sure.
So after the sleep study then, and I encourage people to get sleep studies, not just if you're experiencing stuff like Melissa is talking about, but there are a lot of other things that I've learned. In fact, this is literally on my health and wellness list, is to get a sleep study done. And what have I been doing with that list? I have been avoiding it. So after your diagnosis, what happened from there? And how has, I know that there's emotion and trauma, things that have happened in your life. How have those been contributing factors, if they have, to your narcolepsy, as well as, you're talking about you've had ortho issues, obviously, 5 back surgeries, kidney stones, inflammation of your stomach, palindromic rheumatism, like it goes on and on. Guillain-Barré, right? Which we had to look up how to say it because I want to call it Julian Barr because it looks like that, but it's Guillain-Barré, which I also had a little bit of doctors had thought that was possibly what I had. So what have you been doing successfully? What did you try that did not work? Because I think a lot of people want to know, like, why did that not work for you particularly? And then why something has worked? Because I know a lot of people are seekers, including myself, and hopefully we can help somebody today.
Well, I will tell you that the narcolepsy has been the strongest foundation I have because of Dr. Tang. The few times I had trouble was when, unfortunately, we did move around a lot after my diagnosis. And whenever I had a new doctor who thought, I'm going to do something better than the last one and try to change my medication, that is when things went awry. I went through some stressful experiences, which people do in life. Anyone who has any type of chronic illness goes through stressful experiences. You do that and your body starts to shut down. Well, narcolepsy is both neurological and autoimmune. So the autoimmune part of it is started to really wreak havoc on my body. So they can give you medication for the narcoleptic side to keep you alert, to keep you going. They haven't figured out the side of it that just tears your body apart, the autoimmune side. I'm at a point, and it's just cynical. It's a part of me that kind of feels like I'm giving up, and that's horrible for me to say. But where I think that no matter what's wrong with me, they just say, oh, it's autoimmune. It's autoimmune.
Yeah, it's a cute little phrase these days.
Right. You're vomiting for 3 months all the time. Oh, your stomach is inflamed. It's autoimmune. Your hips hurting. It's autoimmune. You have this, you have that. So a lot of random things will occur. And all they tell me, oh, it's stress or it's autoimmune. Well, it's because you're not sleeping well. Well, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Science.
So unfortunately, with everything that comes up, I almost feel like they're telling me, well, here's another pill because there's nothing we can do except for putting a mask on your symptom.
Right.
So, you were talking about avoidance. My goodness, so often I just sit there and go, well, unless I want another pill in that pill box, another wasted trip to a doctor, more depression thinking, what the heck is wrong with me? And then having to face people looking healthy and feel like someone's going to look at me saying, all right, Melissa, what else is wrong with you?
Yeah. You don't look sick. Bite me right now.
To this day, I can't tell you how many times I don't want to say anything to my family when I'm going to cry, darn it. My own family, and I really do have a great family where we fight like heck, but man, when we need each other, we're there. So, and I know this. So there's nothing that I could say that it's because of them, but I will tell you that I will get new diagnoses, sometimes very scary ones. And the pressure on my heart, I don't want to tell them. I feel stupid. I feel like, oh, this sounds so bizarre. Who's going to believe me? Really, narcolepsy, that was in that movie, Deuce Bigelow, with her hair in the window. Guillain-Barré. Wait, my body is attacking my nerves and I can't feel my toes, my legs, my arms, and it could kill me?
Yeah.
What? This is nuts. I have a weird form of arthritis. Oh, but don't worry, it inflames. It gives you crazy pain. You can't walk some mornings. oh, but wait, in the early morning, you're fine. But by 4 o'clock, you can't even move your wrist to twist a doorknob. But then the next morning, you're fine again.
Yeah, that is weird. When I looked up your particular type, the palindromic rheumatism, I read through that and it talks about it's a rare type of inflammatory arthritis, right? And it attacks your joints and a joint pain and swells up, but then there's no lasting damage. It's like it just peaks up and is like, hey, let's hang out for a little bit and then I'm going to go away. So that's frustrating because it's not like every single moment. So I must be doing something wrong. I mean, at least that's how I feel. I'm like, well, what did I eat? Like, what didn't I eat? What caused that? Is it this stress? Is it this particular person? Whenever they call me, I lose, like I've been trying to figure out, and I've ditched some people in my life that I definitely knew were raising my stress and raising my anxiety. And as soon as that happened, my pain would flare and go through the roof. And I mean, and Julian Guy Guillain Barre. God, I just shouldn't even look at the way I want to say it. Just look at the phonetics of it. But then but then half of the people who have this PR, this palindromic rheumatism, end up developing RA, rheumatoid arthritis. And so, which is permanent. So it's a crapshoot. So do you treat your body like you would if you had RA because that's like the direction your body's going? That's what my nutritionist is kind of thinking about with me. But I'm doing like a slew of weird tests right now because I didn't want to go to a doctor 17,000 different places to get all of these tests. So she's like streamlining me on that.
The truth is, I don't know. You're talking about avoidance. Funny story. 2 weeks ago, I avoided and canceled my appointment with a rheumatologist. And lo and behold, I did postpone it, rescheduled it, and I really did. There's times where I wake up and I can't drive. I really did wake up and couldn't drive to the appointment to the day when I rescheduled it. Now, I live in an area where we don't have Lyft and Uber. I'm in a mountain. I really am. I'm in a mountain now. Horrible medical care, except for my neurologist up here. She's actually awesome now. But other than that, I don't have a lot of specialists where I'm at. So I have to get down a mountain. And it's not like I have other options. So I ended up canceling twice. Sorry, doc. So I really don't know. The one medication they try to put me on, I later found out that it could cause major vision damage.
Well, yeah. And we talk about this all the time. You take a pill and then that pill causes 5 other things. And you have to take a pill to figure that all. It's just a slippery slope. I have
2015 vision. That's the one thing that has not failed me.
Great. Yeah, exactly. Now I'm blind. Great. Thank you.
And, before it was flare-ups. And then when I started taking the medicine they gave me, I had pain every day instead of flare-ups. And I'm like, this is not a good trade-off. Why would I be okay with a level, let's say, 2 pain every day instead of maybe a lot of good days and a couple of horrible, moments?
Right.
Why is this the most horrible choice you're giving me?
Is your intention to just make me feel worse? Is this the goal here?
Yeah. But, you just learn. And it's so hard when people say, oh, you're so strong, or I can't, or, we laugh because, but why should I have to develop that strength? Why is it when the Guillain Barre came on, I was actually taking care of somebody who was undergoing some cancer treatment. And I woke up one morning when it started and I thought I had had a stroke in the middle of the night and just survived it. I called up a dear friend of ours and who just works in the medical field. And I said, I think I had a stroke last night. I have numbness in parts of my arms, my legs. I can't feel them at all, but I don't want to tell anyone because I survived. This is awesome. I'm going to call my doctor, but this is weird. I literally was hiding in a closet having these conversations. And I thought, well, I'm alive. Yay. And I got to get this person to a hospital. They were having a procedure that day for this cancer. So I took this individual to the hospital. The next day, the numbness went a little further up my leg. And I thought, that's weird. I was at this place helping this person for a week. And it kept going up. I flew back home. By the time I landed at the airport, the numbness had gone all the way up my thighs and up to my shoulders on my arms. I drove 70 miles up the mountain to my home. And as I was turning towards my house, I live by a hospital. Thank you, Lord. And I drove into the emergency room and they did a spinal tap there. And they went, "Oh, you're not leaving.
Huh.
You're having an infusion of antibodies because you're moments away from the ICU."
What was it?
That's when it was Guillain-Barré.
Oh, that's when you got diagnosed for that.
And
okay.
if it gets a hold of your diaphragm is when you basically can die.
Right.
And mind you, it was already at my shoulders.
Right. So you're just a stump.
But I had conditioned myself to put things off because I was so scared of what it could be, of another misdiagnosis or another diagnosis, either one, of another pill, of another 50 doctor's appointments that weren't going to get me anywhere. And that horrible fear or the reality. There was a time, and I know this is going to sound awful. There was a time I was okay with not being here because of all the pain. And then I got over that and I fought it. And I'm not okay with that anymore. My husband and I got over the difficulties of chronic pain and the difficulties of him having a tough, horrible job. We got through PTSD for him. We got through, chronic pain and a lot of things with me. And we've come to a point where, wow, we cross huge hurdles. My daughters, man, they're graduating high school and college. And I'm no longer okay with looking at it like it's okay if I'm not here, And the fear of having to get a diagnosis that tells me that, no. But it causes me to avoid.
Right.
Which is terrifying also,
It is.
I'm trying to hold back tears because this is the reality of the world that we're in. That you and I and so many out there are in, where we're not getting answers. And I hate to say it, but I feel like I have to be crazy wealthy to go in search of some answers that aren't covered by my insurance or aren't like the traditional medical path.
Absolutely. If you're wealthy and you've got, a chunk of change sitting around, you can go spend the gobs and gobs of money that it is to do some of the things that both you and I need. And many, many, many others. I mean, we hear this all of the time. It's just so expensive.
And people make you almost feel guilty.
Exactly. Totally.
Like, how much is your health worth?
Yeah. I end up feeling guilty and shamed. Like, honey, can we just try this treatment? And he's like, we're going to try whatever you want to try. Like, we're going to throw the kitchen sink at you. And we have, and now we're like, okay, so now what?
Right.
That's where I'm at. And then I'm really, really, circling down the drain of this avoidance thing that I really, with this episode, really found within myself, like literally last night, that I have just been avoiding. Wow, did I prep for this perfectly? Because we did not practice this, people. She didn't know what I was even talking about today. But I mean, but it's true, because I know when you sent me the list of the 3,000 things that, have been wrong or have not been right, Mrs. Misdiagnosis, right? That's harder because you're like, I'm going down this path because this is this diagnosis and it was so completely wrong. I've actually done damage to my body because a doctor told me to do this and to go down that route. None of which have talked about nutrition, by the way.
Well, actually, yeah, no, absolutely. And interesting you said misdiagnosis. I was about, 4 weeks ago, I received some lab tests that told my doctor I was having thyroid issues, primary or secondary hypothyroidism. They did a nuclear test. They did the whole 9 yards. So they wanted to start me on some thyroid medication. I went back and forth with the doctor as far as which one, what are we doing? Where are we going with this? We kind of agreed on a medication. I was a little weary, but I thought, okay, I'll give it a try. We're going to go for this. Because if you look at it, it has a lot to do with the hormones and the inflammation. And I thought, okay, maybe this is it. Also, my kidney stones for years have come back linked to a thyroid dysfunction. So I thought, okay, maybe this is it. I was actually very hopeful because it was almost like, oh, an answer, right? So lo and behold, the pharmacy happened to have not had that medication in stock. So they said, we're ordering it. It's going to take us 24 hours. That night, I had an appointment with my neurologist, who, of course, this is not her field, but she's a very thorough woman. And my appointment was at 7:00. I left that appointment at 10:30 at night.
Wow.
That is how detailed, bless her, that's how detailed she was. We started talking. She starts pulling up every blood test going back to, I want to say before 2019. It might have been 2017. And starts looking at all my lab tests. And she says, don't you dare take that. She goes, do you realize that you have been from hypo to hyperthyroidism with multiple blood tests for all these years? She goes, I don't know what's going on, but I think it's a communication from your brain to your thyroid and not your thyroid. She goes, this could be really bad if you were to take the wrong medicine. So I literally was within 24 hours away from the wrong medication. And no disrespect to the doctor who was giving it to me, because I had moved within different states in that time. So she literally had to be pulling lab results from multiple hospitals and doctors from different states. But she did do that. She asked me, we pulled them. She sat there looking. I mean, what doctor stays with you till that hour of the night? My husband even texted me saying, are you really still at the doctor's? I'm like, yeah.
I know you texted me. You're like, I just got home from my neurology appointment.
Yes.
I'm like, what? It's very late there.
Yes. She's phenomenal. And I just kept thinking, wow, I would have started this medication.
Yeah.
But again, now I still don't have answers. So I did cry quite a bit that night, because there was this, again, you have a hope. You think you finally have these answers. Prior to that, they had tested my hormones. My hormones were nothing. All my hormones were nothing. So here I thought, wow, an answer to the inflammation, an answer to the hormones, an answer to all this wonderful stuff. No.
Yeah. Rongo bongo.
Right? But I mean, she saved me from, again, having the wrong medication. So I'm back at square one.
Yeah.
And people say, do you think it's stress? Yes, it's stress.
Of course it's stress. Don't you see me? I'm losing my hair. My skin is like
burning.
Well, I burn constantly anyway, but I mean, you drive the point that I've been trying to make on every one of these episodes of mine about how we have lost a lot of hope throughout this process. There's a picture that I have. It's somewhere in like some folder with all these like random pictures I tear out of magazines. I've been doing it since I was a little girl. And there's one that came to mind when you were talking that I can't even believe I'm bringing it out of my memory bank. I must have it since I was like in junior high or something. And which is a long time ago. And it is like a picture of an angel, not like a cherub, but like a really beautiful, like Renaissance kind of looking angel. And she's holding on to the last string in a harp. And it says hope on the bottom of it. And I'm like, that is how it feels. I'm still trying to play beautiful music here, guys, but I got one string left here. Like, come on, man. Like, give me a break. And I feel that for you too. Because it's just that one. Like, can we add a couple extras, guys? Like, I need to bring in like a musician. Like, please fix my harp.
Yeah. That's actually a very visual person. That's the perfect imagery.
Isn't it? And it's a sad image, but it also is not. So I guess it's the way we have to look at it, We're both crying over here, guys. So give us just a sec. And I want to offer hope on this show because I think that by being able to share our experiences with each other, the way in which we're doing it and the way that I'm approaching it, which isn't this clinical show, I'm not trying to put you to sleep. I want you, no pun intended, with my little narcoleptic over here. But we feel very alone in our pain and in our grief that comes with that because we grieve for a body we once had. Every day. And it's like when somebody passes away, you grieve for that person for a certain amount of time, right? And it's not that they're ever gone, but that grief starts to get a little easier. It does not get easier when you're still alive, living in the pain that we live in.
No, and I grieve. As I was thinking, as I listened to your other episodes and everything, I realized, actually, it was your last episode, as we were talking, as I've heard you even talking to Abby and everything, I also grieve for my previous life.
Mm-hmm.
I grieve for my previous physical features, because obviously I used to be way more active. I'm one of those people, I actually love working out. I love dancing. I love cycling. I used to teach cycling, and I would teach 3 cycling classes back to back and still have energy. I had to grieve my marriage and restart it, like restart the same marriage, but restart it. So I literally had to grieve what I knew and restart it, because our lives were so different. And I forget that I'm a different person, and I don't want to accept that most of the time, because that's admitting that other person's gone. And then when for me, because I look fine, when it starts to take over in physical ways where I can see it, and I know we've talked about this. So sometimes the autoimmune will make regular products I use, it'll make it burn my face. And I just cry, because I know people will sit there and be like, oh, Melissa, what? That sounds vain. No, because it's not Melissa that I see in the mirror. And all of a sudden, the things that I feel I can hide when I want to put a mask on and have a good day, I can't hide. I see it. I feel it. The other day, there was a burn on my cheek where if I smiled, if I even wanted to put on a fake smile just to get myself through, I could feel it in that smile, or I could see it, or I couldn't, I would put on makeup and I would feel it. And all those things were such a reminder of my sickness, and it sucked. And there's no other word. It sucked. I like that I can be fake when I need to be, because sometimes it's not, a lot of the time it's not for the other people.
Yeah.
It is for me a lot of the time. I need to feel quote unquote normal, like I need it for me. And so when it starts manifesting in ways that I know is showing to the outside world, God, I have to grieve that person even more. I don't know if you could prepare yourself for that.
You can't. And it's hard, I completely identify with what you're saying. And I know that there are a lot of people listening that also do. When I look in the mirror, I do not know who this Lyndsay is. I don't know who the hell she is. I look at her, I'm like, I used to have like these plump cheeks and plump little buns and plump little legs. I was always healthy and active like you, and dance and and skiing and hiking and biking and yoga and all of that. I don't do any of those things anymore because I can't. I can't even wear tennis shoes for longer than like an hour. That's it. Forget about it. And that's only like 2 pairs of tennis shoes, because I have a closet full of shoes that I cannot wear. It's very sad. I have some beautiful boots in there that I'd love to put on. Someday, I told my sweetie, I'm like, when I get my legs back, we're going on a shopping spree, and it's going to be in the Nordstrom shoe department.
And to other people, it sounds like they're like, okay, it's shoes. And you're like, no, I don't think you understand. Like,
yeah,
it's not. It's literally the fact that you no longer have a choice. Like, I made a joke, and I remember giving to some of my friends, because, obviously from my back surgeries, and then it manifested. Now it's all my joints. I gave my friend some of my very nice heels, and I'm like, can you babysit them? I obviously gave it away.
Sure.
But to me, saying babysit them, mind you, it's been like over 11 years, just to me helped it seem like I wasn't actually having to give them up.
Yeah. And I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird topic. And I've mentioned it on episodes prior about how I have this weird obsession with looking at people's feet and their legs. And when I'm driving down the street, someone's running along, I'm like, be nice to your body, and I'm constantly looking at it, and I'm looking through catalogs, especially right now at the holiday seasons. Like, I must have gotten 35 catalogs in the past, couple weeks. And I'm always looking at legs and feet. And I'm just like, I can't do the pose that they're doing in this yoga catalog. I cannot do that pose. It will hurt too bad. And it's so challenging because it's so silly to say, like, I've got this closet full of shoes I just can't wear. No, I want to wear them, and I don't know what to do with them. And I keep going, I'm going to go donate them to like a women's, a shelter where they're getting ready for, they're prepping them for job interviews. And so I've got hundreds of thousands of dollars of shoes in there that are beautiful that I will never wear. And if I can end up, I'm going to want to go buy me some new ones. That's all I'm saying, So I'm like, maybe I should just have a full shoe party and just give them away and get it out of my line of vision, because it's depressing every morning.
But it's the same as when people don't want to give away things of a loved one who's passed away, I think. I think that there's a lot of similarities there. And on the flip side, I'm not going to sit here and say that I have done everything in the world to heal myself, because I am defiant. And, if I want to drink Diet Coke, darn it, I know you hate that about me. That's why I'm purposely picking that one thing.
Well, you and my sweetie with the Diet Coke.
Yes. And I know you absolutely hate that.
I
and
do.
He's done better at it than I have. But there's a part of me that's like, you know what? With everything I've been dealt with, I want my stupid Diet Coke.
Right,
and I get like that. And it's so defiant. And, there's times where I've weaned off it. There's times I drink it. But I know I'm defiant. So no, I can't sit here and say, I've done everything and woe is me. No.
Yeah. Well, because there's no way that we can do everything. I mean, we can't, because there are so many options. And I'm looking at, doing an ayahuasca retreat, and I'll put that in social media and on the website as well, because ayahuasca, and I want you to look into it, my girl, because it would be really cool for the two of us to go do it. It's expensive. This is what we're talking about. And it all adds up. And, that is one of the number one challenges in the pain community, is just that. And I'm like you, where I'm like, I've tried this, I've tried that, I've done this, I've done that. I haven't done nearly everything that I should. And it's part of my avoidance problem. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, part of it is the toddler inside of all of us that is like, listen, if I have to endure this every day, it's like climbing a mountain and there's a darn ice cream cone at the top of it. You know what? If I climb this mountain, I get that ice cream cone.
Well, now I can't, because I have had to move my body into dairy free. So I can't even eat cheese or that ice cream. I get to the top of the mountain. They're like, here's your gluten-free toast. Enjoy.
Yeah.
It's like, great. I don't even have a yummy carrot to go reach out to,
I'm going to call Satan and see if hell froze over, because you giving up cheese, I never thought I would hear the day.
It's the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my entire life. So anyways, we're digressing a little bit here, but it's the point behind it is we're doing all these different things nutritionally. I'm trying to add things nutritionally. I've been subtracting things and doing all these tests and all these things that I'm afraid of getting results. You should see these tests that are sitting in my bathroom counter. I keep moving them from different places to different places, because I'm avoiding doing these, and I keep crossing dates out on when was the day that you collected the specimen? I'm like, well, I haven't done that yet. So I've got to cross that one off and put a new date on. I'm just like, oh my God, these people are going to get these envelopes with all of these like P tests and whatever I'm doing and be like, this girl took like 3 weeks to do this. Like, what is wrong with her? But it's true. And it's costing me a fortune to do these. So why am I avoiding it? I don't know. Oh yes, we figured it out. I'm scared shitless.
Yeah.
That's what I am. But I have to replace that feeling, and I have to do it today. I woke up this morning, I'm like, you're doing those tests today, Lyndsay, you're doing them. But I have to wrap my brain around this could give you one additional string on your harp. It could give you another one, because you can find out, wow, you actually don't have CRPS, which is actually one of the things I'm scared of most.
Right.
Because if that's what I've been freaking doing for 7 years here, and you're going to tell me that I've been wrong the whole time.
And that's been your constant.
Yes. And I'm like, that scares the shit out of me, and also will make me very angry. But it would at least give me an extra string to hold on to, And so I have to do it. There's no option. It's like, no option, Lynds. Like, this is what you have to do. And for those of you who are listening that can identify with even one sentence that we've said today, I guarantee you know a couple other people in your life that can identify with more than one sentence. So please do share, because even if it's something that you might not be going through, there are a lot of people out there that have a lot of shit going on, that you could be that one person that could send it. And then that person goes, oh, you know what? I have 3 friends that need to listen to this episode right now. So, and with that, thank you for being here with me, my friend. I love you so much. And I know she was nervous to do this. I'm like, come on, you're talking to me, for crying out loud. But it's scary to have hope And one of the episodes that I recently did with Dr. Brooke Braylove, she's the one that said that to me. It's scary to have hope. It really is. And I've held that close to me here over the past couple of weeks, Brooke. So thank you. And I want to pay that forward because it is very, very scary to have hope because a lot of us are on that last harp string.
And I did reach out to a doctor for that art therapy.
Oh, for ART,
today.
For art. Oh my gosh, yes. I'm so proud of you. See, we're making changes in people's lives. This is what we're here to do. I mean, it's true. It's what I'm here. I'm here for me. I'm here for you. This is important stuff.
You know what? I appreciate you and I appreciate this podcast because we hold so much in. For so many different fears, we put stuff off, we hold stuff in, and we can't do this alone.
No, we can't.
It's literally killing us to do it alone. And it's terrifying.
That's a good way to put it. As sad as it is. Well, thanks again, girly, for being here with me. And I'm proud of you for who you've become over the years that I've known you and where you are now and where you're going to be later. And, let's go start dancing again.
Oh, thanks, hon.
You are exclusively invited to share this VIP pain journey together. Let's get to the heart of how to heal with you by my side. Please follow the Pain Game podcast wherever you digest your podcast content. We will be there. Visit us at thepaingamepodcast.com and follow us on all the socials. Thanks for listening, my little VIPs. Catch you on the other side.